Alright guys, this is Gato Perro Reviews and this is our Arkham Origins countdown video starting today. This is Monday, starting with the Batman collection video. Basically we'll be showing you all the figures you see here from the Batman cartoon animated series from 2005 through 2008 or 7, which was my first introduction to Batman. So really cool show, but let's get through it. So first off, we'll start with Bruce Wayne, who is the most basic of the characters. He is basically a Bruce to Batman figure that came with one of those gimmicky hoods that you can put on him, but it looks really big on him, and gauntlets, and I think boots maybe. But we bought him separately at a flea market, and interesting enough, his face sculpt does match up with this Batman figure, so you can see how the jaw would still be him. I don't see how people don't think he's Batman. And the body sculpt is the same up until the gauntlets, because then they turn into this. So basically the elbow down is a basically difference. The rest of the legs are also the same, except for the bottom of the knee, because they turn into regular people shoes, I guess. So we'll lift it up a Gato, so you can see how it turns differently. So already a comparison, you can see his boots are much more straight, while this one has like sculpts for like tennis shoes or something like that. But the figure has this, like most Bruce Wayne figures, he has like a weird thing. His neon blue as a sweater, something like that, but pretty good. I'm proud of it. I actually bought it separately for about $5 maybe, so pretty good. It actually looks like the Batman figure, which is next on our review, and this will be quick reviews so we can get through them all. Batman, as I mentioned, is the same sculpt as this one, the Bruce Wayne, but obviously they added the let's call it the cowl to it, and I like the eyes. Some other later releases came with more big bug eye Batman figures. This one just comes with the little tiny ears, bat growl, and then, sorry, my voice cracked up, man. You know, I always liked how these figures have the fabric cape. You can turn on the back, Mr. Gato. I was in like this right here, my fancy part. Yeah, how it folds and goes down and it flows in the wind. Oh, I love it so much. Alright, so it goes down. It actually flows when you have the figure standing. It'll just flow on the ground naturally. So I like that a lot. Again, basic body mold up into the elbows. As I mentioned, gauntlets. This one has an open hand, while this one, for the gimmick, it has a giant batarang, which is what he used in the show as his grapple gun, which you would extend it and it would just come back, kind of like those keychain things, so you can use it to grapple up buildings and let go, like that, how it works. Otherwise, you can just have him grabbing it like a batarang. Yeah, so we just grapple up. The belts isn't shaded or anything. None of these figures are shaded at all, but they're basic painted like in the show, and they're very show accurate, so I'm proud of that. The under rules of Batman are just painted on as well, just basic gray, some scratches here and there because this is a used figure, and basically like boots at the bottom and peg holes, but they came with no stance. So that's the Batman. Let's go with the Penguin. Oswald Cobblepot on the show, he was portrayed to have, I think he has like some kind of rivalry with the Waynes, so he tries to steal money all the time, as do most of the criminals in the show. So this very show accurate. I like how they painted the mouth of it black. His teeth are sharp like a penguin. His pointy nose is sculpted out. You can see his monocle is painted blue. His angry grin, his eyes. You can see his crazy hair. Now we are missing the hat, and is that it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're missing the hat, and we do have all the gimmicky stuff, which is a giant mace. All this is sculpted up his tuxedo up here. Raise it up, you can't see because he's a short person. You can see his tuxedo right there. What do you call this, a bow tie? You can see his nice little jacket going all the way down. He's a chubby little fella, so all this is very nicely sculpted. His legs are sculpted permanently like that. Oh, we're not going over articulation, are we? Oh well. We'll go over this. Okay, fine, sorry. We'll go over quickly. Head, show arms, elbow, waist, legs go forward and back, knee. Okay, that should be enough. Those are the basic articulation for those figures. This one, on the back, it has a nice sculpted flow to the end of his tuxedo. But the gimmick with this figure that restricts articulation is that he can swing his mace by pulling a switch on the back, like this. Come on, you can do it. Come on, do it. Yeah, like that. And his other gimmick is, with his arm is restricted because you can see it comes with an umbrella with the bird at the end of it that has little eyes and a beak. Then his hand has a groove of a hole in it, so you can just plug it in right there and it'll stick. Or is it this way? It's that way, yeah. So it comes with accessories. We're just missing the hat. Great figure. It just has head, arms, but this one doesn't move. He has swivel elbow, waist, and this arm goes up and down and it can swivel. So that's the articulation for that one. So up next is the Riddler. This is a recent figure that we picked up at the comic book store for only $4. Pretty happy about it. He looks really skinny. He was portrayed differently in the show, so I don't know how people might like this, but I think it's my only Riddler, which is pretty bad. Can't wait for him to be Arkham Origins also. So he has a sculpted on green bodysuit, which has the Riddler sign written across it. He has little Riddler logos going across his arms, and he has this giant. It's supposed to be his cane, but it's more of a gimmicky thing. The rest of him is just a basic green. And he has long hair with a little Green Lantern mask looking, and long black hair. So he looks like a geek or something like that. Like a technomatic geek. I guess if that's a word. So if you take off his... Well, actually, we'll just keep it on. Like, you can... man. There's this little slimy thing on the side. This will look like Slash. And there's a little button over here you can press and it'll slide it out. Like that. So look, you can either use like a knife or acid. So it just clips onto his arm. You can remove it, but it can't really fit on nobody else because his arms are skinny enough where you can only fit one. Batman has huge muscles, so you can't fit it on there. So it's only for this figure. Articulation remains the same, like 6 points of articulation. Head that goes side to side like this, kind of restricted by the hair. Arms that go up and down, but not in and out. No waist. Legs that go forward and back. No knee, no ankle, no nothing. Pretty cool. And up next is Killer Croc, the biggest beast of them all. So also another figure from the flea market. Most of these are from there because we found them pretty cheap. So his head is kind of on a ball joint hinge, sort of, that goes up and down very nicely. This is the second release. This is the EXP Reveltech, something like that. EXP Shadow Tech, that's it. They came with gimmicks, and this one is the re-release that has a green slime going across it, as you can see. Just basic. He looks like a Killer Croc from the show. He's all Texan and stuff. Very tough guy. You can see the little duck toes in the middle of his fingers for swimming.
Web toes.
Web toes. Wet toes?
Web hands.
Web toes? Whatever. So in the show he had a sculpted jacket. A jacket, and this is sculpted nicely, as well as his gills on his abdomen. So articulation for this one is his head. Obviously can go up and down. He has a nice smirking head. I like that too. His hinge arms that go up and down, not really in and out. No elbow, no wrist, no waist, but his legs can go forward and not really back. And his gimmick is he has a swooshing tail. So there's a little rotating piece up here on the top where you can rotate, and then the tail will move along with it like that. So you can slash Batman down or something like that. I don't know. He did it in the show, so it's pretty cool. Next we have Mr. Freeze, who's not a gimmicky toy, but this is like the third or second release of the figure with no dome. And you can see his head sculpt that when Batman throws a batarang at his helmet and it explodes, and it's very CG. You can see his red eyes. He was more portrayed as a petty criminal in there. But I don't like how they did the see-through little plastic things on his arms. The base of it is just a black body. But then he has these tubes going down his back and ice. Very nice. So articulation, his head, I guess if it wasn't for the restriction of that, would go side to side. His arms would go up and down. This one actually does have waist, which is cool. And he was supposed to come with a little blast ice thing, which he doesn't. And swivel legs that go forward. Nothing else can kind of stand. On to Clayface, who is the second biggest figure of this line, or at least from the ones we have. So in later series like season 3, 4, and 5, it was changed into more of a red-eyed, more of a pointy looking character. I think that's accurate. Alright, so this is more of the first appearance of Clayface from the show with green eyes and more of a floppy look to him, I guess. But then other figures such as, there was a half Clayface, and wait, I think it was either half a complete face of Ethan Bennett, who in the show was Clayface, which was one of the GCPD cops. And this one captures it really nicely. It's very show accurate, but the gimmick, it works for the character, but it does restrict articulation kind of. So as follows, he has header swivel that goes side to side, and I like that. Like they made this rubbery so he can actually move like that. He has no waist swivel, but he does have arms that go up and down with a swivel. That arm, we'll get to the gimmick later, but then he has legs that just swivel up and down, and the bottom of his feet are kind of like flopping down clay-ish, sort of speaking. So the rest of the sculpt is very nice. You can see all the slime parts and how it would be clay-ish, I guess was a good term. So as for the gimmick, you're supposed to, this arm is all rubbery and It doesn't really have holes in it as you would like for any kind of pipes to go inside it for articulation, but you're supposed to rotate it all the way around until you hear a cracking noise and wait for it. Almost there. And okay, there, and then you let go, and then he'll do this. Oh, and he'll knock down Batman and apparently Mr. Freeze. So that's what he does. He's supposed to like be slamming you really hard with his tendril Clayface stuff. And I haven't even done sizes, but alright, so we'll compare him really quickly to the Batman. Batman is up to here, so he's pretty big. You know, he's pretty accurate to the show to how big he is. And I guess I'll compare him Batman to Killer Croc right now also, which we reviewed, but you can see Killer Croc, you know, he's looking at him from eyesight normal, but yet Killer Croc should be like a beast, like over here where my hand is. And I guess Mr. Freeze also is also a pretty size accurate also, though his head makes him look a bit shorter because his is like more up here. And obviously the Penguins up here. And speaking of size comparisons, these are not 6-inch figures. I might as well let you know that. These are actually 5-inch figures. And if you noticed during the entire review, I have not mentioned other figures such as the Firefly, some kind of a rumbling character, I don't know his name, but like no articulation at all, which was a show figure, or the Joker. But instead I prefer to use this Dark Knight Joker figure because, you know, the other one was good, but I'd just rather not have it. And this one looks pretty cartoonish to me. This is the Dark Knight 5-inch figure. And to show you that this is 5-inch figures, here's the Dark Knight Rises. So he's a 6-inch figure, at least a little bit under, because he's kind of a short figure. So you can see the height comparison there. These are not going to scale with that at all. But if you have a complete collection like this, you know, you can make it work for yourself, because then, you know, they go all along with each other from the show. And stop wiggling that all over the camera. It looks kind of gross. So I do have the Batmobile, but you can stay tuned until Tuesday, which is tomorrow, if you're watching this currently, where I'll continue my Arkham Origins videos. And that will be basically a Batmobile comparison of every single vehicle that I have, including this show, which I will show how they fit in there. So this has been Gato Perro, and I hope you enjoyed this.